Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us this week. This is from the CBN. I am Misi Dada. At the December Monetary Policy Committee meeting, the Central Bank of Nigeria noted that following the discovery of COVID-19 vaccines, medium-term outlook for the global economy was beginning to show a ray of optimism, while in the domestic economy, available data and forecasts for key macroeconomic variables also suggested optimism in output growth in the fourth quarter of 2020 due to the positive outlook for most economic activities. And accordingly, the economy was expected to recover from recession by the end of 2020, while inflation is projected to moderate by the first quarter of 2021. Well, the year is just starting, and we continue with the economic projections for Nigeria. What do the people think? Let's find out.
Expect that this year's economics will be far better than that of last year. We understand the fact that COVID caused a lot of problems last year, but this year with quick passage of budget they have done, I think it's a very good initiative. We hope that they will follow it up with proper implementations. If they implement it very well, certainly we hope that things will be better than that of last year. And they look at the area of unemployment among our youth, the self-employed people, while the way to stimulate the economy such that the self-employed people will be able to earn their incomes too from whatever they were doing. And that's the only way I think the economy can be better. The government to try to wake up and possibly reduce their own, find a way to reduce their own expenses too. All the ministers, the people in the National Assembly, and hopefully with that, we hope that things will be far better than last year.
Look at me now, I'm a graduate of the University of Badon, statistics, with second class upper. I'm on the street hustling with passport officers. Yeah, I have a business center. I do photocopy, printing, scanning, downloading, internet work, downloading for passport work. You can imagine a statistician on the street doesn't like that. It doesn't make sense. What an economy! And what's the future of Nigeria in the next 1 year? Don't let us talk of 15 or 20 years. The Nigerian economy is so very discouraging. Even to survive on business itself is very discouraging. Like my business center now, there's no light always. We come in the morning 9 a.m. they take light. At the closing hour of 4:30 they bring lights. It's quite discouraging. It's very discouraging. I must tell you the truth. It's very discouraging. Even to survive on your business is hard. Fuel is 168 naira per liter now. Since morning now, no lights. I have to buy fuel for my generator to run on business. Without buying fuel into the generator, how will I survive? I have to print, I have to do scanning, I have to download, I have to do online application. Without light, will I be able to do that? I have family at home. How am I going to survive?
The Nigerian economy. Yes, we know it's quite some kind of way. For the lack of words, we know it's not exactly friendly or as we have envisioned it to be. But I'm one of those people, one of those very few people that really believe in Nigeria. And I believe that if we as individuals can play our own parts, then we would go a long way before we start expecting the government to do what it is that government has to do. So I believe I am heavily invested in Nigeria, and I believe that 2021 is going to be a very great year. I'm very positive, and I hope a lot of people can, bring up that positivity, and we can change the country as a whole.
And our major problem is that our leader didn't support the young ones. If the young ones being an opinion that they can even contribute a little bit to what is happening, they render their requests unwelcome. So in this, it spreads the progress of the young ones. Let's encourage our youth, those who are ambitious to do something to participate. Once you see that what they're doing is really something that maybe you read that at the end of the day it can be a real. Let's give them room to perform something so that the young ones coming, so our generation will not be useless to others again.
Looking at the rate at which Nigeria is going, I think it's high time for the Nigerian government to understand that they need to focus more on how to create an enabling environment for the citizens of the country. so that many people can see that many people are leaving this country, because of what they see around, and they are not comfortable. So the Nigerian government should try and look into this, so that because people are resources to the country, we are very hardworking, but they need to create an environment for us to be able to work perfectly well and also grow the economy. And I think this 2021, if they can focus on that, try to create good roads, good lights, make sure that things are not going, prices of things are not skyrocketing, our naira is getting value. I believe the Nigerian economy will be better and people will stay in the country.
There are so many things that we had to have accomplished last year, but due to some circumstances beyond our control, like the COVID issue, it really set back the economy. So we pray that we are able to accomplish at least 80 to 70% before this year run out. If the economy is moving, the country will be buoyant. The gross domestic product will be very, very okay. Our naira will not be crashing every day and night. You get? We are not happy, but it's like maybe it's the structure, lack of structure that we have that is making the money in the economy not circulating. Because I believe if we have good structure, you want to do a small scale business worth maybe 250,000, you can approach any bank to do that. They will really believe in God for something better this year. Our expectation is so high, and I know God will do it.
We expect the progress about this economy to improve this year with the program which our government have for us. I wish the issue of these epidemics should be go away, and by the grace of God, I want our economy to be improved properly, so that the people will live in a standard way. Then the government should try to provide job opportunity for the people, so that the crime will be reduced within our environment. Our transportation problem should be solved through the good road, so that we can have access to a lot of things we need in this state.
Welcome back. Last time we promised to bring you more of the talk I had with the Director General, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Muda Yusuf, on the economic forecast for the year 2021. Here it is. According to your report, there is need for harmonization of fiscal and monetary policies. What specific harmonization are you referring to here?
Well, the harmonization is about having complementary policies. The CBN has been very bullish in trying to stimulate the economy. The policies of government, at least in 2020, was expansionary to a large extent because of the challenges that the economy was facing. The financial markets were liberalized, liquidity improved, and all of that. But you see, financing alone cannot solve all the problems. If provide finance maybe to agriculture, to manufacturers, and they are still facing challenges, for instance, at the ports. They are facing challenges with the transportation cost. They are facing challenges with transportation cost. They are facing challenges with all sorts of documentation and other regulatory issues. These things tend to limit the impact of monetary policy. So that is why we said that it is very important that we also address the issue of complementarity of policies. The fiscal and monetary policy should be complementary. Just as they say, you cannot clap with one hand. You need that collaboration for these things to happen. So the CBN cannot be struggling to stimulate the economy on one hand. Then we have all sorts of issues that are causing drawbacks on the fiscal side. So that is what we are saying. So the fiscal authorities need to address the structural issues. Monetary policy cannot address structural issues. Monetary policy cannot address issues at the ports. Monetary policy cannot address some of the regulatory issues that investors are facing. So they have to be on the same on the same page.
As well as the issue of insecurity.
As well as the issue of insecurity. So these things have to work in tandem for us to get the desired outcomes of these policies.
So what should we look out for? Talking about inflation in the year 2021, is it going to go up or is it going to come down?
Well, this is, they are conditional, They are conditional because they are dependent on all sorts of variables. Quite a number of variables drive inflation. For instance, we talk about security, the impact of security on agricultural output. If you have very serious issues with agricultural output, we have a problem of inflation. If you look at the inflation figure that we have had throughout 2020, food inflation was the biggest issue. And the security problem was part of the factors. Because all these peasant farmers that actually produce these agricultural products had challenges going to their farms, risk of going to farm and all of that. So that is a major driver. Then we have the issue of the transportation cost. It's also a structural issue. We have seen instances where the cost of transportation is higher sometimes than the cost of the product, the food items that people went to buy in some of these villages and all of that. So this transportation cost is a major issue. I'm aware that the government is already doing something about fixing transportation, fixing the railways and all of that. These are very important issues. Of course, the exchange rate situation is also an issue. Exchange rate, of course, is a function of also so many factors: oil price, productivity in the economy, level of import dependence, and all of that. If you are having exchange rate depreciation, it contributes to inflationary pressures. So it is conditional on all of these things. And of course, we also have the issue of climate change. There is the issue of the seasonality of agricultural production. So these are the variables that impact on inflation. So it is not easy to sit and predict that inflation will be high or will be low. It depends on what happened to these variables that drive inflation.
Nigeria is a rich nation of green land, rich resources, countless crops and commodities sufficient to feed and provide a means of livelihood for her teeming population. Chin up, Nigeria, the giant of Africa. Exciting times are here. We can be self-reliant and grow our economy if we work together to explore our potential. It takes a whole nation. Let us get involved. Buy Nigerian to grow Nigeria.
Thanks for staying tuned. In this next report, we'll learn more about the efforts of the Central Bank of Nigeria at improving the fishing and aquaculture sector to ensure self-sufficiency in fish and seafood production in the country.
Nigeria's two major rivers, Niger and Benue, form a confluence at Lokoja and run southwards into the Gulf of Guinea through creeks that in turn form the Niger Delta. These bodies of water mingle with those flowing from Cross, Imo, Ogun, Osun, Benin and Kwaibo rivers and all empty into the Atlantic Ocean, which borders Nigeria in the south. The country's water resources provide conditions conducive for tropical, fresh and marine fish culture, as well as a suitable climate for year-round production. With a coastline measuring about 853 kilometers and a large resource base of waterways spanning 10,000 kilometers of inland waters, the expectation is that Nigeria by now should be self-sufficient in fish and seafood production. That, however, has not been the case, as the country has been unable to realize the huge potentials in its fishing and aquaculture sector. Statistics show that fish consumption in Nigeria accounts for more than 45% of the meat protein consumed in the country. The fish production in Nigeria as at 2019 stood at 0.8 million tons, while the demand was about 2.7 million tons, thereby leaving a deficit of 1.9 million metric tons of fish. This deficit resulted in a humongous annual import bill of $1.2 billion that got the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to respond by collaborating with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, as well as the governors of coastal states in Nigeria, to rewrite the narrative. Having made huge successes out of its intervention in land farming through its Anchor Borrowers Program ABP that revolutionized the value chains of several crops, the CBN also sought to intervene in the fish value chain with the intent of reducing the fish consumption gap of 1.9 million tons and import bill of $1.2 billion. According to the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, the goal of partnering with the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development and the coastal states was to develop the blue economy to eradicate the huge import bill for fish. According to Mr. Emefiele, the fish and aquaculture sector provided the states with a huge economic opportunity to create an enabling environment for investors. Spelling out the bank's plans, he said the CBN aimed to boost fish production by 600,000 metric tons in 3 years, create jobs and enhance the skills in the processing of fish in Nigeria, reduce import bills, contribute to food self-sufficiency in Nigeria, improve local production of fish meal, enhance access to finance for fish projects, and address challenges associated with the high cost of fish feeds and quality brood stock. Aquaculture is simply the farming of fish and other marine organisms. It basically involves the cultivation of freshwater and saltwater animals in a controlled environment. The practice, which began almost 60 years ago in Nigeria, is not the same practice as commercial fishing that entails harvesting wild fish. From being a government-driven venture when it began in Paniam Fish Farm, Jos, in 1951, the practice is now private sector-led. Aquaculture is practiced across all the regions of Nigeria, but the most active regions are the North Central, Southeast, South-South, and the Southwest. As at today, Nigeria is the largest market for fisheries products in Africa. Researchers in the field are agreed that aquaculture production remains the best option to bridge the gap between the total fish demand and total domestic production. According to these researchers, Nigeria went into aquaculture as a result of the decrease in supply from ocean fisheries due to overfishing, habitat destruction, and pollution. Other challenges in that sector include poor fishing methods, inadequate technical capacity and skills, high cost of fish feeds, low financing of fish projects by deposit money banks (DMBs), inadequate storage and processing facilities, poor quality of brood stock, flooding, and market failure. To address these challenges, the CBN, through its various interventions, has had to extend a facility to the fish value chain amounting to 21 billion naira. Under the Commodity Development Initiative (CDI), the bank has disbursed a total of 500 million naira to farmers cut across various states of the Federation. These funds were disbursed to 40 companies and over 3,000 farmers. Thanks to the interventions, the sector now has an annual increment of 200 metric tons, mainly from aquaculture.
I'm aware that we have about 3,000 ponds here, each harboring close to 5,000 to 6,000 fish. I'm delighted that you have close to, how many stakeholders? I hear almost about over 2,000 stakeholders. This is a well-organized system, and you do deserve funding from the Central Bank of Nigeria.
By engaging with government of coastal states in Nigeria, fish value chain players, importers and exporters, the bank hopes for a spike in import substitution, employment figures and the sale of local fish species in supermarkets on all sides of the River Niger. Besides the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, the CBN is also engaging the Nigerian Institute of Marine Research and Oceanography on fishing and fish management to develop broodstock for quality seeds and fingerlings. To further enhance local fish production and its distribution, the bank's Development Finance Department is currently working with feed millers as well as retail chains, such as Zartek and ShopRite, for processing, storage and marketing. The bank is engaging smallholder producers of shell and crayfish, among others, in order to enhance their use of technology, especially in the area of processing and determining modalities to finance cooperatives interested in keying into the CBN Development Finance Initiative. Indeed, with the hands of the bank and the federal government on the fishing hook, it is expected that the objective of boosting fish production by 600,000 metric tons in 3 years, improving local production of fish and reducing import bills will be met.
I'll use this medium to give kudos to CBN for their tremendous effort over this program. You see, Ankobora program is a program being designed by federal government to assist the life of farmers. And in the Southwest, let me say we are the proud pioneer of Ankobora program to have been a successful one.
It's been a very laudable program. It's the first time we are doing it. We hope that we can, progress from where we started from, and we can be better than this.
Because we ran this program, we were able to produce fish in the peak of the demand period for fish. This will be generally in the period of like December to the start of the rainy season up until like June. So we've been able to feel that normal period when you expected to have scarcity and the price will go up arbitrarily. But because we were able to produce in concrete tanks, plastic tanks, and we're producing in cities not too far from the markets and the consumption centers, we were able to hold the market price steady.
Beyond the economic, however, the CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, has also emphasized the health implication of importing frozen meat product that may have been compromised and may have adverse effect on the health of consumers in Nigeria. Experts have indeed pointed out that fish is most vulnerable to tissue decomposition and microbial spoilage because they begin to depreciate as soon as they are harvested from water. These experts posit that majority of fish imported into the country are preserved by freezing and applying preservatives that make fish and other seafood appear attractive. Though some challenges remain, chief of which is importation of fish, the Central Bank of Nigeria, working with the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, is determined to get importers of the product to embrace and implement backward integration in the commercial aquaculture sector. With consumer demand rising for fish locally, one can only imagine how limitless the supply would be when the amount expended for importation is plowed into the local blue economy.
That's our package this week from the CBN. Remember to visit the website cbn.gov.ng and acquaint yourself with latest developments. Reach the CBN contact center using the phone line below for your valid complaints. Local rates apply. Send in your comments and contributions using the email address fromthecbn@gmail.com and follow us on social media for updates and uploaded episodes of the program. I'm Uliemi Dada. Stay safe and bye for now.